It's not another Buffalo podcast, hosted by three of the most underqualified sports personalities this side of the canal. With John.
All you people out there who are like, these idiots don't know anything. First of all, you're right. And second of all,
I'm just a dad talking in a closet, but I'm just saying.
And Brando.
We have this trust built on whatever it is, like Bibles and gold bricks and whatever Brandon Bean's drinking over there.
All right, welcome back to Not Another Buffalo Podcast. I'm John. I'm here with the boys, Pat and Brando. You can find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcast if you want to follow us there. It's actually a Wednesday when we're recording this, so this episode's probably going to make it out a little bit late, a little bit later than we usually have, but it's good to be with you boys. Before we get going here, I just want to let everybody know that this episode is brought to you by Small City Realty. If you're looking to buy, sell, or manage property in Western New York, you got to call our guy, Zach Korzelius, at 585-409-1088. Again, that's buying, selling, or managing property in Western New York. For example, he's got a house right now in Batavia that just had a price reduction. So that's 228 Liberty Street, Batavia, New York. It's available for $159,000. So any new homeowners that want to get your foot in the door in Batavia, great place to live. Call Zach Korzelius at 585-409-1088. And you can check out our social profiles if you want to see a picture of that. If you're on the YouTube version of it, I'll probably include the screenshot for you guys. But again, 585-409-1088. And I'll put Zach's email contact info in the show notes if you need it. So anyway, boys, big win against Miami this past weekend. It feels like a year ago already. I'll start with a kick. How did you guys feel when Tyler Bass lined up for a 61-yarder? Like, what was your confidence level? And don't lie.
More than I thought for like a 40-yarder, because we know he has the leg. It was a perfect day there. The wind that was going, he had it a little bit behind him. That wasn't really breezy though. And I know he said in warmups he hit like 57, 58 a couple times. But in my brain, I was like, he's missing this, but it's not a huge deal. But the thought was, if anybody could do it, it would be him today, right? It's like, this is one of those moments that is like, this is one of those destiny moments, right? Where he can change the whole narrative on the whole season right now. And he did it, right? It's one of those things, right? History kind of takes precedent over the extra point that you doinked in and the one that you missed. And that almost cost us the game. So, and the other kicks that also almost cost us the games, like against the Jets and stuff. So let me see you hit a couple 40-yarders in a row now, Tyler.
Yeah, Pat, how was your heart rate through that whole thing?
I mean, it was okay. I had a friend call me after and say, you need to apologize to Tyler Bass for everything. I've heard you scream at him through the TV. But no, I was nervous, man. I was like, if he misses this and the Dolphins get the ball at midfield with a timeout, we're going to lose the game. But yeah, so how
much time was left at that point? Like
10 seconds.
10 seconds? But you're right, though. That's enough to get one play off and then
field goals run off 5 seconds. So you get the ball 5 seconds at the 50 with one timeout.
That's enough for a slant and then a timeout, probably, right? But maybe. Yeah, no, I don't know. I was kind of like you, Brandon. I was like, there's really no pressure here. There's just an opportunity. Like, I didn't feel that pressure. It's like, this is a kick to win the game, and as long as it doesn't get blocked, I feel good about it. I was worried about it.
About a block.
I was worried about getting a block because that's the thing with long field goals is the trajectory has to be lower to get it there. So it's not like an extra point. You just kick that thing straight up in the air. It's got to be lower going out. And so I was nervous about that, but I was like great opportunity. I love that they gave him the opportunity to do it because it's like, it's tied. If they were down one and he needed the kick, I think it would have gone differently, to be honest with you, but he was smooth. Good point. He took advantage of the opportunity and like, what a way to get your confidence back for the rest of the season, and we knew that there was not going to be any other alternative kicker options out there that were going to be any better. So this is like in every way the best outcome possible, right? Is Tyler Bass getting his confidence back because of his contract, because he's the guy and all that stuff. So
they actually just released the guy that they brought in from the practice squad today.
Yeah, they did that. I think they maybe even released him last week, or they released some kicker last week too. But did they release somebody today too?
Yeah, I thought I saw that, but
I can't remember if it was last week or this week. But
the other thing is, when you're looking at numbers or whatever, Allen's 0-6 in overtime. Just leave it as you will. The less than 50% chance of winning. Obviously, if you're 0-6 with the coin toss, maybe. I don't know. So to give him the chance to kick, it was the right decision for sure. I mean, what are your choices? Throw a Hail Mary? Kick the field goal?
Yeah, I would think the chances are a little bit higher on a 61-yarder. I mean, especially wasn't he kicking with the wind too a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a light breeze, so yeah.
That's good because I thought it was into the wind when they were talking about it. I got my end of the stadium mixed up, but so it's tough. I mean, 61 yards. I had no idea that was the Bills' franchise record until I saw it on Twitter 3 hours later.
Yeah, what was it 59 from Hauschka or something? Or
Steve Christie,
yeah.
Which I thought it was, if you guys remember the crazy Dan Carpenter, where in Detroit, where they carried Jim Schwartz off on his shoulders.
We watched that.
That was 58. That was 58. Yeah. I remember that one was 58. But
in John's basement, we watched that game.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun.
Can I talk to you guys about this really quick? Because it maybe didn't take over headlines as much as I thought it would. Maybe it did, and I just haven't been in the loop this week of being busy. But I believe it was 4 teams in the NFL this past weekend had an opportunity to go for 2 to take the lead under a minute or inside the 2-minute warning. All 4 chose to kick the extra point, and all 4 lost. And the only one that the Seahawks got the ball in overtime and turned it over on downs. They did not convert a 4th and 1. But the other 3 teams lost because they didn't go for 2. If you're the Dolphins, how mad are you at Mike McDaniel for not going for 2?
If I was a Dolphins fan, I'd be furious. They definitely should have gone for 2 right there. They had not stopped. I mean, the Bills up until that point had scored 3 straight touchdowns. Yeah. Was it 3? So you hadn't stopped them. And again, they hadn't stopped you either. So that's a point to consider there too, where it's if you're going back and forth in overtime, you're we're just going to take our chances with a coin flip. But I don't know. I feel like they have Achane. They could have just ran that wide sweep and
HB stretch.
Just right.
That's my
everybody
my
to the corner. Achane is going to win the race.
That's my qualm with Mike McDaniel. He just does not stick with. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like Devon Achane, 6.5 yards per carry, I feel like every time he touches the rock. And I just feel like, it's hard to say because if the Bills were down and we were still running the ball on 1st and 2nd down, I'd be pissed. I'd be throwing my remote at the TV. But I don't know. I just feel like as much as we hate on Joe Brady, I feel like, Mike McDaniel is not as steadfast, especially, with we pretty much played 2 guys deep the entire game. So I don't know. That was the strategy, right? I mean, Taron Johnson even said after the game, they're like, I think Sal asked him, how do you guys feel when you're really getting run on, or something to that effect? And he's like,
we want it.
And have you seen their weapons on the outside? We're okay doing the best we can against the run, because that's how you play them. An explosive run is still better for a defense than an explosive pass, especially with those guys. And they did get beat over the top a couple times this game.
I'll give you a crazy stat if you want to hear a crazy stat. So
I'd love to hear a crazy stat with Pat.
When Dorian Williams has more than 10 tackles in a game, the Bills are 0-2, despite him being our leading tackler,
that's super interesting.
Well, I was going to say that stat probably correlates with Matt Milano and not Taron Johnson,
Bernard.
Middle linebacker, Terrell Bernard being out. Yep. Right? It has to, right?
Yeah, but Dorian Williams has seen the field a lot. And
that's true.
To say
did he lead the team in tackles this time too, Pat? Or was that from what 2 games?
No, he
those,
didn't.
Do you know?
He didn't. It was, who was it? Damar Hamlin led the team in tackles. Well, let's see. I guess
Damar Hamlin
solo tackles, 10 tackles. Dorian Williams, 7 solo tackles, 5 assists. I guess it would be, it would go Rapp. Well, I guess it would go Dorian, Rapp, Damar. But
with those safeties down in the box, that's how those. I mean, they were really getting past the defensive line, the linebackers, and then you're getting to safeties for most of those runs. So
did you guys think the thing I heard about the Dolphins with Tua's game last week against the Cardinals was that they really didn't do much deep passing because of the quick time to throw. They didn't want him to get into any sort of trouble with contact to his head or whatever. To me, the play calling from the Dolphins looked a little bit like that again, kind of like, hey, we're playing with, I don't know. It's like you're playing with something broken and you don't want it to break totally. You're trying to save this guy. It was no 7-step drop backs. He's not surveying the pocket. Rousseau's sack was sweet. Also, did I tell you I saw him after the game, and he's so big. His traps are the size of my head. Like, he's huge.
He looks big on the field compared to everybody else, and that's when you know somebody looks big, when they look big compared to their peers. Yeah, like, he is a monster.
I thought Tremaine Edmonds was big, and then I saw Greg Rousseau. I'm like, oh my God, this is a specimen of a human
large
being.
Man.
But it kind of looked like Tua. It didn't look like they were at their full peak of powers with their passing, but it seemed to be designed that way. Even though he did play good, I just kind of feel for him, right? And did you see that after the game where they're Allen and Tua, they're buddies. I like it. I think they might be two of the happiest, nicest dudes in the league. So it's unfortunate that we destroy him all the time.
I like Tua too, and like my significant other also really feels bad for Tua when we play him.
Yeah,
like so, and obviously I've had a couple bad concussions instances against the Bills. The Matt Milano push last year, and then obviously running into DeMar this year. So he's had a tough time against the Bills from an injury standpoint as well, not just statistically. So yeah. It's rough, and I feel for him because he plays the game well. He's a great quarterback, and I don't want to give a pity party for Miami Dolphins fans here, but it's been a tough couple of years for them when they have so much in the stable and are not getting the results out of it. Like, we feel upset with our playoff results, and it's like they haven't even made it to that point.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate. And then do you see the stat of Tua's record against the AFC East? He's 12-8 all time, and he's 1-7 against the Bills. Yeah. So he just lights everybody up, but then you have this dark curse against the Bills, and it's super unfortunate for him. It's great for us. I love it. The all-time record. We didn't win a game in the 70s against them, so they took the lead for that head-to-head record, and now we are right there. We're coming. We're getting there, and it's right on the tip of our tongue to get to that. Even we could get it by the end of the decade, I think.
Yeah. But. Well, Bills, nothing crazy at the trade deadline. They released safety Mike Edwards after not being able to find a trade partner for him. He signed with the Titans, I believe, recently. They need safety help with injuries.
So sorry for his loss.
Yeah. They re-signed D-tackle Jordan Phillips. I have an interesting quote from him. I'll read that in a second. And also Quentin Jefferson. So not exactly the Oasis reunion, but what do you guys think about bringing those guys back with the injuries to Dwan Smoot and Dwayne Carter also?
Well, I don't know, man. You know how I feel about this.
Very overwhelming reaction.
Yeah. I don't want to play meaningful snaps.
That's the downfall of the Patriots organization, is they just keep recycling players. It's like the resource dependency theory. Why would I go out and get a player that I'm not familiar with when I could have someone come that's familiar with in-house policies and come and play right away? So I don't know.
That's deep, Pat. Well,
Jordan Phillips' shoulder's going to come out of socket too, I guarantee.
I'll give you a quote that's 1 degree deeper than that. This is from Jordan Phillips. "I'm an acquired taste, and here they like how I taste," was how he phrased it. He's right? We all kind of like Jordan Phillips. Like his last stint here, I don't know. I can't keep track.
This is his third one, right?
Third one, right? Yeah. I think it's his third one. His last one was very much underwhelming compared to the one before that, right? But when we had some peak Jordan Phillips moments, that goes back to the Jaguars game where they're fighting and stuff like that. That season, he was, did he lead the Bills in sacks for 1 year? Like, he was close.
He had 10.
10 sacks as a Buffalo Bill. Like, that's crazy for a defensive tackle that is like, a career backup for the most part.
If you can find the footage, there's a clip. I remember, I've never seen anyone hit this hard to this day. He sacked Dwayne Haskins, RIP, at home versus the Commanders. And it's like the trajectory, it looks like he just, press square and X at the same time. And
the right stick, hit stick.
And the hit stick.
That's quite a finger motion right there. I can't even wrap my mind. Yeah, that's all that stuff.
I think it's at home versus the Commanders 2020. But
yep, it might be 2021. 2021.
It might be because you're right, because Emmanuel Sanders catches the touchdown in that game.
Yeah, I was at the Firefly Festival when that game was happening, watching it on like a little pop-up TV.
You were at the Fire Festival?
Oh yeah. Fire Festival. Just kidding. No, Brandon was getting to watch Tame Impala.
That one's different.
No, I saw Mr. Brightside live. Yeah, saw the Killers. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen the Killers a couple times. They're great.
Bucket list thing for me. Yeah.
How great is it for Brando that they do Mr. Brightside in the stadium? Brandon has
I was
this
just
song
talking about this
before they started doing it in the stadium. This is Brandon's high school anthem, right? So like,
do you remember Park Rec, Pat? Right, that's where it's kind of started.
Yeah, the talent show.
Yeah, Kelly gave me the Mr. Brightside award. You know, we dissected this song maybe junior year of high school. I was just talking about this the other day, and Jeremy and Joe were talking about this on WGR, and Jeremy's kind of like, I liked the Killers before they were cool. And I'm like, I think of you, John, because I know you've always liked the Killers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I liked Mr. Brightside before it was cool.
Slightly before it was cool, yeah.
Like way before it was cool. And I said that working at the Bill Stadium the other day, and they all go nuts. And I'm like, I love that they do this. And I'm like, but this song has deserved this love forever. And now it's like way too loved. Like they're going to call it the song of our generation. Like it's a sad song, man. The guy's getting cheated on by his girlfriend. I don't know why people love it so much.
It's a relatable situation for just about everyone, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, how iconic too that like Brandon Flowers didn't even write a second verse for it. He got into the studio when it was time to record, and he didn't have a time to write a second verse, so he just sang the first verse.
Isn't it? It's like on a Boss 8-track. Like, and I want to say
the demo was, yeah.
And they spent all this money trying to like get them to re-record it, and they just touched up the demo. From what I understand, they just could not replicate the original energy.
Yeah.
From that.
Well, if you hear the demo, they must have overdubbed some stuff because you hear the demo, it's a little bit rough. I mean, it's got some character and vibe to it for sure, but it's definitely a little bit rough. So
it's funny though, because you go, you know, when I first moved to Buffalo, we used to go to this place, Sterling. It was karaoke night. This is like an all-time story for me in my life. I was standing at the bar, never ever sang karaoke before, and I'm standing there. And I don't know. This is still freaky to me that this happened. This is like one of those destiny is calling me moments. So I'm standing there. Somebody named Brandon signed up to sing Mr. Brightside, and nobody went up. And I'm standing there, and they're like, Brandon for Mr. Brightside, you're up. And I'm looking around. I'm like, oh my God, nobody's gonna do this right now. I was like, I'm shy. I'm freaking out. I've never sang in front of anybody before. And I just look at my friend. I'm like, I have to do this. So like, this is me. I have to do this. And I did it. And the whole bar, like it was banana. It was like one of those out of body experiences. Everybody was clapping around. People came up to dance, and the bar like went bananas. And I got done. I'm like, I was like blacked out. I'm like totally blacked out. I didn't sign up for it. The guy was named Brandon. He requested Mr. Brightside. Blacked out
because of the performance, correct?
Yes, that it was happening.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that moment for me like lives as a Mount Rushmore moment on my life because it was really cool and it was not planned. But somebody named Brandon requested Mr. Brightside at Sterling Bar a Thursday night of May of 2020, and it led to a very cool evening. So
I'm just imagining Brandon like you're like Simba stepping out onto Pride Rock. Like I have to do this. Like this is my destiny.
It was literally destiny is calling me, and I opened up my eager eyes, and I was Mr. Brightside. So
nice. But I love it.
So right, I don't know if it wasn't well received, I would have been like horrified. But there was a group of people at the first table in front of me, and they like got up on the chairs and were clapping along, and I'm like, oh, thank you guys.
I mean, not to generalize, but like I feel like it is. I don't know. As long as you sing it with good energy, I feel like generally
there's no musical ability needed to sing that song.
I mean, Elizabeth, she had a cousin that got married, and one of her cousins is engaged, or maybe he's not engaged too, but she dates this guy who's like a farmer, and like he, you know, very quiet guy, has celiac disease, always is like very quietly like, oh, I can't eat that.
Does the celiac disease lead to his quietness? Is my question.
I don't know. I shouldn't generalize. I don't think they're going to listen to the podcast. It doesn't matter. But like nice guy, but very quiet. And he got a couple drinks into him. And Mr. Brightside came on, and he took off his tie and was twirling it and just going bananas. And everyone was like, what? So I feel like it brings out the best in everyone.
That guy was Brandon at the
yeah. But anywho.
Anyway, well, Speaking of nostalgic stories, Trey White was traded to the Ravens. Sorry, I couldn't make that transition at all. No, it was terrible. I couldn't.
No, it was it was a good one. That was a good one. Leave that in. Leave that in.
But anyway, how we feel about Trey White? I just want him to get an opportunity to be good again. It's devastating to be a healthy scratch since week 4, and he's coming off of an injury. And I just want to see Trey succeed. He's
is it wrong to say that you don't want him to succeed this year now because he's on the Ravens?
Not wishing
I want him to be
right
the
now.
best corner on a team that loses all the rest of its games, maybe. But
should have gone to Tennessee with Mike Edwards.
Yeah,
right.
At least Mike Edwards was like, "I'll get paid. You know what? I love the Bills enough. I'll be on a non-contender." That's what Trey should have done. Honestly, Trey and the Rams are good. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Is there any credence to him going to Baltimore just to have a little inside information against the Bills?
I think he's been out of the system long enough that
I don't think the system's changed in 7 years, man.
I don't think it's changed a lot. I think it's changed. I think if anything, it's probably changed more this past year, right? And they've had to do that before. You talk about the offense this past week, switching up calls because Jordan Poyer knows all their audibles, right? So that's part of it, maybe. But
it's interesting. I think, we lose Leslie Frazier, but White was still here after that.
Yeah, Leslie Frazier also with the Seahawks. So, that was
out.
Right. Yeah. So still a mysterious end to that thing, whether he was scapegoated or he just wanted to leave.
No, he got scapegoated. The 13 seconds. Again, I would do, if I could live any moment ever, I would live in the locker room after 13 seconds just to find out what really happened. The mutiny, the fighting, the screaming.
I would live on the radio frequency to hear what was going on. I know NFL
I don't know.
Films,
that would be the amount of negative vibes.
Do you think NFL Films has that audio somewhere? Do they record all the radio channels for calls and stuff like that?
I don't think so.
Unless
somebody was mic'd up.
It's encrypted, but yeah, I guess you'd have to be mic'd up for that. I wonder if anyone was mic'd up for that.
Yeah.
It'll come out eventually. They'll do it once they do, whatever, A Football Life Story, 2027 World Champion Buffalo Bills.
Who writes the book from that season?
Winners write the book. Yeah.
Winners write the book. Who? I was gonna say, does Jordan Phillips have an author career after this, and he's the one writing the book for?
I feel like he'd be an amazing announcer. He's just unhinged enough. He would have to.
I consider him jolly. He seems jolly.
Could you imagine Jordan Phillips
that comes to mind?
Jordan Phillips and Jameis and maybe Johnny Manziel together.
I don't know if I'd be able to handle that. That should be College Game Day also, but they should do that for the NFL. Yeah. Full of great ideas today. But other movement that happened, obviously a couple weeks ago now, but DeAndre Hopkins on the Chiefs. We all watched that. You guys all watched that rainy Monday night game against the Bucs. Once again, Patrick Mahomes gets the ball in overtime, and the opposing team doesn't even get to put their hands on it. So I was just going to say, are we nervous about DeAndre Hopkins on the Chiefs, and is he going to be the reason that they three-peat? Are we starting to dread that a little bit?
I mean, I think if Hollywood Brown comes back in the playoffs and he's not their A1, then yeah, that would be terrifying. But I don't know. And Juju, didn't look bad either.
That's true.
Hard to
He's
say.
been out for a while.
Hard to say.
Sorry, Brandon, what were you going to say?
Having Hopkins is a big deal for them, but I'm not scared by them at all. I think when we play them, I really hope they win this week. We'll talk about it in game picks after this, but I hope they win this week because I want to be the team to beat them. They're going to go 16-1, and it's going to be the loss against us to set up a nice rematch. It's unfortunate for the 1 seed battle. Also, a couple of things. Mahomes, I believe, in 9 overtime contests at Arrowhead, has won the coin toss 7 times and driven down in the first drive and scored a touchdown all 7 times. If you're wondering about that stat.
That's probably an Andy Reid stat, too.
Yeah, and that goes along with the other one I said earlier about how these teams could have gone for 2. What are you doing? Let Baker Mayfield go for 2. What do you have to lose, man? What do you have to lose?
I think defenses get so tight in that moment as to that's probably just as much a reputation thing. If you're on defense, you're playing not to lose, and you can just get picked apart all the way down the field doing that, and then just give up one play and that's it.
There's a cool, Mike Shope was talking about it. There's an interesting stat about the difference between being down 3 and being down 4 at the end of a game. Because if you're down 3, like you said,
teams will play for the field goal.
Yes.
They're not trying to get the touchdown.
For the touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a big correlation of, what they play as coverages, the blitzes, the, interceptions, sort of stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting. But I just think if you have them there, man, you can't get 2 yards to win the game. You don't deserve to win.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
All right. So I am worried about DeAndre Hopkins, by the way. I think their boring offense randomly coming to life during the critical parts of the season is what terrifies me the most. Like they can look sucky all season.
Did he pull a Devontae though? I feel like he pulled it because wasn't he hurt-esque, sort of injured coming from the Titans? Not 100%.
Hey, I think you're right. Remember how he was sat out for the second half of the game versus the Bills?
Same thing with Devontae Adams, right? So you just said
suddenly his elements are healed. Maybe it's the in-house Taco Bell. Maybe it's a little bit of, my shoulder hurts. Stop
my toe yesterday, guys. I can't put a cleat on.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Got turf toe for the full season. Yeah. Maybe that's Curtis Samuel right now. I don't know. But anyway, we have kind of a main topic that we were going to talk about here. I think we should save that after game picks, just in case, Brando, you and I go too long on it, because Pat might need to skedaddle out of here after game picks. We're going to talk about how our expectations have shifted at this point of the season compared to where they were before the season. So stick around after game picks. We're going to do that. But for right now, Brandon, kick us off with some game picks. How did we do this last week?
Ooh, this was quite the week for all of us. John and I missed the Bills game, but that's okay. The Bills still won. But we all hit them all. We all had pretty good weeks. 4-2, 5-1. Pat again gets the extra win. Unfortunately, choosing Cleveland kind of bit you in the butt there, buddy. Which we were hoping
I lost faith in
Brandon. I was gonna say we're saving ourselves putting Cleveland on the ballot here.
Never again. Not again.
Never again. Not again. Okay.
Yeah.
Not again. That's when they'll win. So
I'm aware. Same thing with the Chiefs. When we pick the Chiefs not to cover.
Well, let's see here.
I had a bad beat too. Tennessee didn't cover the spread by the hook. Tennessee won by
half point hook, buddy.
Won by 3, and you guys had New England minus 3.5 or Tennessee minus 3.5. No, New England plus 3.5 is what you guys had. So I lost that pick. But
all right, so these spreads this week, we have a mix of a large spread and a zero spread pick 'em. So again, now looking at the scoreboard, Pat's 31-23, John's 30-24, and now I am way behind at 29-25. So I gotta get something happening.
That's one game. That's one game back.
Well,
from
it's
me.
like a game and a half, right?
Two games back from Pat.
Okay,
game and a half.
We're kicking off the week at Arrowhead, division matchup. Now, if Kansas City is going to win all their games, obviously this is a must win. Haha. But Denver boasting one of the best defenses in the league, right? They are playing. Bo Nix is like decent as quarterback. So Denver at Kansas City. Kansas City's -8. Big time spread. Pat, do you think Kansas City clears that easily?
I do. As this book would say, all gas, no brakes until you get to Buffalo. But
until you get to Buffalo.
I love it. I got to go Kansas City here too. I think Bo Nix is going to get the doors beat off of him at Arrowhead against that defense. The Denver defense might be able to slow down the Kansas City offense, but I don't know. Denver defense looked good, and then they played the Ravens, and got ran over. So, what do you think, Brando?
I'm rolling with you. My gut says to take the points, but the Denver's offense is really bad. I don't like them a lot. And to see Mahomes, did you see his injury? It looked a lot worse than it was. He just runs out of unless he gets more Toradol in that leg, which has just seen so much of it. But I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah. We took the points against the Chiefs last week and got it to cover. So we're riding the wave the other way.
Whoa, wait a minute.
I mean, I'd trust Baker over Bo Nix though.
Yeah. Sorry.
We took the points last week for Baker. Yeah.
Yep.
Brandon, you picked the Chiefs to cover last week. Not us.
Did not.
Me and Pat.
So this next game, super interesting, I think. Pittsburgh kind of looks a little dangerous. Washington looks elite. The spread is pretty close. Washington -2.5. I will always pick against Pittsburgh in a big game. I think Jaden Daniels has it right. He is a stud. They went and got Marshawn Lattimore. Great pickup for not a lot, right? They did a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick. So add him to this defense. They're going to lock Pittsburgh up. What do you guys think?
I think the only thing dangerous about Pittsburgh is if you trip and fell in the river. Give me Washington.
Yep. I think the only thing dangerous about the Washington Commanders is Marcus Lattimore's rap sheet. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I forgot that was a good trade. Yeah, like traded from the Saints. So you know who's
Marshawn Lattimore, pardon, but he's part of the Rookie of the Year felony conspiracy. But
oh, that's right, Pat. You gave us some interesting stats on that, right? What was that again? What was that stat?
Like it's an alarming amount of offensive and defensive Rookie of the Year players face suspension for whatever conduct reasons.
Gotcha. Yep. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. We had a trivia on that. Go back and listen to that one. But yeah, good trade for the Commanders there. And you know who's the most happy about that trade is Mike Evans.
Yeah,
because he always got locked down twice a year by him. So
So now we're going to our pick'em game. We have the Jets at Arizona. Jets are looking to still save their season. Arizona's
back it up, Brando. Skip the game. Your favorite boys.
Oh my God, how do I do this? Why do I do this? Okay,
it's all right.
This could be the game of the week here. We've got the Lions at the Texans. This spread is closer than I might think it would be. Detroit minus 3.5. They get you on the half-point hook. We got beat on the half-point hook last week. John, do you think the Lions cover?
Yeah. Easy answer. They're rolling. This isn't going to be the game that trips them up. I don't think Houston matches up well against Detroit. I think that Detroit will definitely lose more games this year. But I don't think that Houston's a matchup issue for them. But what do you guys think?
Well, does CJ Stroud have the exact same hair that Brandon had facially at 19 years old? Correct. Yes. Give me the Lions. Big dub. Just so you know, CJ, you look like crap. Brandon looked legit.
Okay, Brandon, you're going to need to send me a picture so we can do a side-by-side for the YouTube.
You mean the chin hair that he has? The little bit of like right here? Dude,
he tried it's a bad Habermas Stan attempt is what it is.
Well, I was looking at this picture from a while ago. It was the picture with Josh Allen I have. I have this like real grimy goatee and I thought I was the coolest dude ever. And I'm like, I look like an idiot. I don't know why people didn't tell me about this sooner. I just was happy to grow something on my chin. So...
all right. I'm sure we won't feel that way 10 years from now about Pat's mustache right now or anything.
No, or I had a man bun too as well and a ponytail. So like no love lost.
You can flex all the styles, man. Like there's I can't pull off the facial hair. It's all orange when it comes out for some reason. I'm not even a ginger, but apparently I have enough Irish heritage for my face. So we just shave it. But anyway, I digress.
Do you remember a couple of weeks ago when Washington was -3 over Cleveland and I said it might be the bet of the year?
Yep.
I kind of feel that way with Detroit against Houston this week. -3.5 is very small for how good Detroit has looked.
It's true. I might be too early to say, but is Houston getting Nico Collins back this week by chance?
I think they will be getting Nico Collins
back. They have to for this line to be where it is, right? I would think so.
Search it real quick.
Again, it's Wednesday. It's not going to be definite, but
I have no idea. I can't find it down here.
This has been research with NABP. Next game.
Says he's still on injured reserve.
All right. So they got to open up a practice window for him still.
Interesting. Well, if they don't have Nico Collins, then y'all should be running to DraftKings to bet the Lions without this. This is not financial advice, but I would be doing it. So
you will be doing it.
I'm taking
probably.
Detroit. Yep. I got to put that on there. All right. Now we're going to go back to the game that I stuttered on. Jets at Arizona. It's a pick'em game. The Cardinals are sneaky good here, I think, but not good enough to finish. And Aaron Rodgers is high all the time. So if you pick your poison, John, which one you want?
I'll take Arizona. Again, Call of Duty curve. I don't know if that's fully set in yet, but I like Arizona at home. I think their running game matches up pretty well against the Jets running defense. So, which has proved to be a little bit of a weakness this year for them.
I think I'm going to take the Cardinals as well here. The mobile quarterback, Marvin Harrison Jr. Jets should be competitive in this game though, but I like that it's a pick'em game. So Arizona's going to sneak this one out after a couple tight losses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, give me the Cardinals. I feel like they're sort of good. Sort of good.
That's how I feel about them. Sort of good.
Sort of good. Me too. Yeah.
They could win a playoff game and set their franchise back a couple more years by doing that. Probably, these teams that are kind of mediocre should probably just like sink to the bottom and rise to the top. But
no. That's what makes the league interesting. I mean, we have a bad taste in our mouth because we watched 7 and 9 seasons.
Because we did that for 17 years. Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I saw a post about Danny DeVito with the Giants yesterday about how it cost him Jaden Daniels because he wins one game as a backup quarterback. Just that mediocre win, right? You can't have that. You got to sink to the bottom. But
when do you guys think the last Cardinals playoff win is?
It's not. Carson Palmer took him to the NFC champion. No, yeah, are they in the NFC? Yeah, Carson Palmer took them to the NFC championship game
with Bruce Arians as coach.
I'm trying to look here.
2017, 2018. I think
it's before that.
But it's Carson Palmer. It's not Kyler.
All right, last time they were in the playoffs was. Okay, so they lost one playoff game in 2021.
That's the Rams blowout game, right?
Yes, I think so. That's 2021, and then before that is 2015, which has got to be Carson Palmer, right?
Yep.
1-1.
Interesting.
Although no. Okay, so not the last. The last time was not the time they went to the NFC Championship game. That would have been 2008. When they were 3-1 in the playoffs. They were 1-1. They lost in the divisional round in 2015.
All right, Carson, I was giving you a little too much credit there, bud.
Well, I'm reading an article right now about Carson Palmer. He spent 5 years there, right? Only 5 years there. They inducted him into the Cardinals Ring of Honor for his 5 years that were there. And if you keep reading this is kind of interesting. I believe he didn't do a whole lot. It doesn't say anything except a successful 5 year stretch.
All those years, but
I mean, he played in one playoff game two playoff games, one playoff appearance as an Arizona Cardinal.
Wouldn't it have been more than that?
It's actually super funny. So he plays.
Sorry, I was gonna say. Okay, so I'm so sorry. That 2015 season was a Super Bowl season, not the championship game. So it is the Chrome. Okay, reopen, close tab.
Cardinals didn't go to the Super Bowl in 2015.
No. It looks like Carson Palmer. I don't know what happened in 2013 either.
So
did they not
let me read this
qualify?
to you.
Multiple wins of 10 plus seasons though.
Sorry, 2008 was the Super Bowl. That's what I meant. 2015 was the Carson Palmer championship game season. Sorry, I got everything flipped around. Everyone's so confused that's listening to this.
No.
I apologize.
Yeah, it's okay. So we said he got inducted into the Ring of Honor, right? The dude plays 5 seasons, but it's really not 5 seasons. 2013, 16 games played, had a good season, 24 touchdowns. Guess how many interceptions?
17.
22. 2014, dude plays 6 games. 2015, he plays 16 games. He has a very good season. 4,600 yards, 35 TDs, 11 interceptions. 2016, 15 games, 26 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, over 4,000 yards. 2017, his 5th year, 7 games, 9 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So really the guy played 3.5 years, got inducted into their Ring of Honor.
Let me give you a hypothetical. If the Bills, after breaking the drought in 2017 with Tyrod Taylor, had not made the playoffs again, from then until now, would we be thinking about Tyrod Taylor on the Wall of Fame?
Absolutely not.
I would think 50.
Are you sure? Like, okay, how many years is that? So that would be 6 years since the drought-ish, 6 or 7. So that's 6 or 7 years plus 17. So we're looking at a 25-year period where you made the playoffs once. Don't you think you put the quarterback that got you there on the Wall of Fame?
That snow game where it's Nathan Peterman and Joe Webb that basically hand us an opportunity to beat the Dolphins in Miami.
Don't forget about Shady.
And Shady in a foot of snow.
Rushing
yards. I say that was more in spite of Nathan Peterman. Right.
So I don't know.
Absolutely not. This is an interesting debate about retired jerseys, Ring of Honor jerseys. Now, I always reference the Detroit Red Wings because you had to win a championship to have your number retired. I don't know, Ring of Honor, if that's a jersey retirement number or if it just puts your name up there. Maybe there's
it's each team's Hall of Fame.
Which I mean, the Bills, when's the last time they've inducted a player that we've seen in our lifetime other than Eric Moulds, I guess? Really? Why is Kyle Williams up there? Why is he not up there?
They haven't added a name to the wall in a lot of years.
I would think even Lorenzo Alexander might be a stretch, but maybe Hyde or not Poyer, because he did just hand us a W, so maybe you do slap him out there. But
go back and forth on that one.
They have 31 members on their Wall of Fame. The Bills do.
Yeah, see, we used to have this conversation early on in the pod, like who should the next Wall of Fame. I mean, this conversation's definitely been beat to death, but I think they're just waiting for the new stadium, right? Because they're going to induct people into what might not even be a Ring of Honor or the Wall of Fame. It might be actually like a Hall of Fame, like Bills Hall of Fame. So
like the Yankee Stadium has like Trophy Park or whatever,
right?
Yeah, Monument Park.
I think they're just I think the Bills used this opportunity to build a new stadium just so it wasn't made a big thing of them taking OJ off the wall. Now they just don't put him in the new one. Like that's problem solved, right? Just build a new stadium to do that.
Yeah, it's taxpayer money, baby.
All right. Speaking of taxpayer money, I feel like Drake May is playing with house money right now. That man is just balling. Does not give a shit about anything.
That is right.
Proto Josh right now.
Caleb Williams might be in the way of this here. Now, this is a big line, Pat, and I appreciate you saying this. Chicago's a 6.5 point favorite. Are you taking Drake May here?
No, absolutely, dude. Come on. The Bears got absolutely stomped. They got stomped. What's his name? Darnell Mooney walked off the field.
No, it was it was Moore. It was
DJ Moore. Yeah, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
DJ Moore walked off the field. I mean, I don't know. Give me the Pats. They'll at least cover.
Yeah, I was back and forth on this, but again, give me some points here.
I'm taking the points. No, I'm not taking the points. I'm so sorry.
I was gonna say
I'm taking Chicago. I'm taking Chicago. Go Bears. The Bears. They're gonna bounce back this week. 6.5 points. Caleb Williams can score more than Drake May. That's what I meant to say. So give me,
except for last week.
Yeah.
But.
All right, Ditka, what do we got up next?
The Bills at the Colts. All right. This is crazy too. Only 4-point favorites. The Bills are -4. This is crazy number. Interesting fact. Jonathan Taylor is not as good with Joe Flacco at quarterback. Let me find the stat. I just accidentally.
Does Anthony Richard have a softer hand? Like, what's the deal with that?
Good question.
Well, I mean, I feel like Anthony Richardson being a threat to run also kind of might.
Maybe. I would think Joe Flacco being a threat to throw should give some lighter boxes maybe.
Okay, I got it right here. With Anthony Richardson, 76 carries for 396 yards and 5 touchdowns, averages 5.5 yards per carry. Joe Flacco, 29 carries, 106 yards, 3.6 yards per carry. So, quite a difference. Yeah. Every
Joe
inch
Flacco
counts.
Effect.
So, I think you're hammering the Bills on this, right? Like this is 91% of the money is in on Buffalo.
I bet on this show on Buffalo every single week, and I pick the Bills. I never put any money on Buffalo money line. I feel like I did it once and they lost, and then that was the end of that. Like I was like, I can't. I've done the emotional hedge before. I've bet the bill against the Bills so that I'm like, that's the emotional hedge. $10 down on that, and then if the Bills lose and I'm sad, I'm like, oh, I made $9, which is not exactly a consolation prize, but yeah, it's a great. I think it's a great setup for the Bills. Obviously, it's a lot different situation than when they went into Indianapolis and got stomped. Actually, I think that game was
at home. Yeah,
it was in Buffalo. Yeah, so yeah, give me the Bills, baby. How you guys feeling?
Go Bills, blow it out.
Pat, I see an outright Bills win here on the sheet, not a Bills to win, not to cover. Are you okay over there?
Yep. Just a correction from my previous stat. We are 1-2 when Dorian has 12 or more tackles. He's not going to have any tackles because they're going to be down the entire game and passing the rock. Yeah, give me the Bills.
Go team,
love
go.
It. Love it. That's our resident fact checker, Pat Cap, there getting the stats right. Pat, I always appreciate when you fact check yourself because that saves me a little bit of work in post for sure.
Yeah.
So next week, let's push back the conversation about our expectations and where they are halfway through the season. I think this Colts game will be another good barometer. Obviously, Miami was a big deal, but we're already up against the clock here. So, boys, it's been real. Again, everyone, you know where to find us on all platforms at Not Buff Podcast. Love if you go give us a follow. If you enjoy the podcast, feel free to give us a review if you'd like. If you don't have time, I understand. I don't either. So,
hey, big
anyway.
shout out to the listeners that came and found me at the game again. It really is a thrill for me. It's so crazy to me that people listen to us talk and follow along. The guy was with his girlfriend, shook my hand. He said they were big listeners. They appreciate it. So it makes it all worth it, right? It makes all that extra work worth it knowing you guys listen. So
yeah, for sure. All right. Well, boys, we'll see you next week. And until then, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.